So hello, my name is Lisa Shea, and today we're going to talk about Wattpad. Wattpad is an amazingly useful social network and library system for authors of all different levels, and it's also great for readers because there are thousands upon thousands of free stories in here and all sorts of topic areas. Jeez Louise. From mystery to romance, paranormal, and so on. So it's a great place to go if you are getting started as an author, and it's also a wonderful place to go if you are an established author and looking to build up your fan base and marketing for your existing books. Alright, so to start off with, Wattpad lets you log in through a number of different established social systems like Google and Facebook and such, or you can create a new account here. So even if you don't want to tie it to any of your existing social network systems, it is very easy to make a new account. It is completely free. And if we go back out to their Wattpad main page, just to make sure my cat's not clicking on any important buttons, which the cat tends to do. You are such a good kitty. So the main page pushes all these different books that you can read. So there's all sorts of books in here. There's let's get down to actual. Jeez Louise. So there's, you know, they're supposed to show you genres instead of all this generic, we're going to push you all the things we're trying to market. There we go. Mystery and suspense. So there's a bunch of books in the mystery and suspense area. There's a bunch in young adult and teen fiction, contemporary romance, science fiction, fantasy. So there's everything from very sweet and clean things associated for tween groups and younger readers to a lot of racy things for adult readers and everything in between. So historical fiction. And if we click on browse, there's all sorts of different topics. Humor, romance. There are some nonfiction books in here, but really most of the stuff in here is... Oh, see, nonfiction doesn't have actual... There's stuff in here which is clearly fake stuff, so you can never tell what people are going to put where. But let's go for science fiction. So all sorts of different kinds of science fiction. There's space epics, there's robot stories and zombie stories, and, you know, pretty much everything else that's in there. So whatever kind of book you like to read, there are lots and lots of free books in here for you to go through. And a nice thing is that as you're reading a book, you can comment on each section of the book, you can write notes to the author, you can get back and forth feedback. So, and if they're still working on the story, then you could give them feedback, which then could get incorporated into the final story. So it's a lot of fun to be on here as a reader. And it's even more fun to be on here as an author because you're getting all of that kind of feedback. So if you start as a reader, which I always recommend, then you'll be able to get a sense of how this works. So let's take a look for The Last Kingdom paddling. Alright, I did not find it with that. Let's try looking for Sage J. Oliver. I did not find it with that either. Alright, let's go to my account and try a different way. I think, oops, nope, click the wrong button. Alright, I did type in the name correctly, and I did type in her name correctly. I bet it's because it doesn't have spaces, so I'll have to talk with her about that. So, and I bet Kingdom with the colon on it is causing a problem for the search. Let's just try that for a second while I'm in here anyway. Kingdom Sage J. Oliver. Yeah, so that finds it. All right, so I'll need to talk with her about that to get that fixed because you don't want to have that kind of issue on your things. And what's happening is her name is Sage J. Oliver with no spaces, so when I tried to look for Sage with a space, it's not finding it. And also her title has Kingdom colon instead of just Kingdom, so it doesn't think that Kingdom colon equals Kingdom, which is why I tell authors all the time, do not attach punctuation to your words because that can cause all sorts of problems for you. So I'm just going to scribble a note to myself to make sure that I tell her that. Kingdom : and Sage J. Oliver, no spaces. All right, I'll let her know to fix that. So search in general, you can search for keywords or titles or author names or any combination. Normally you can find them if you're not having these kinds of problems with your entry. So things to think about when you're putting up your entries. So I found her book. This is a full-length book that's on Amazon, but what she's done is she's put the beginning of the book here on Wattpad with the prologue and chapter 1 so that people can read this, see what it's about. So this is completely free, and then hopefully if they like it enough, then they'll go to Amazon and buy the entire length of the story. But when you get to a book, it tells you how many people have read it so far, how many people have voted on it as being something they like, how many parts it is. This is 2 parts because it's just the beginning of the story, and about how long it'll take you to read it. And it gives you the little blurb about what the story is about, and then a list of different keywords that are associated with the story. So let's go ahead to the prologue. It jumps you right into the prologue. It says I'm already following her as an author. And it shows you the story. It's a very basic layout. There's italics and bolds, but it's not really complicated because their aim is to make this work on smartphones and all sorts of other different systems. And I've already voted and commented on this. And then you click to read the next part. So you've got the words in here. Again, you just scroll down to the bottom. This is a pretty long chapter, and you can vote and comment on that, and then it lets you know that there's more to the story. So I'll also make a note, because she should put at the bottom of this thing to say that the rest of it's available on Amazon, so people know to go buy it on Amazon versus just thinking that she's going to be loading more of the story on. So I'll make a note, and comment on Amazon. All right, so you can read all sorts of other authors' works on here, and it's good to read a number of them, even if you just read the first chapter or two, to get a sense of how the Wattpad interface works, what the reading style is like, what the icon style is like. Now, see, this is the image for Sage J. Oliver, and you can see it's the book cover, but it's so small that it's sort of hard to make out the details in there. It just sort of looks like a mush of gray. So she might do better by having it be a more close-up image of just the wolf head and the boy head and the bird. And that way it makes more sense, because I'm looking at this on a computer monitor, and I'm not sure what you're watching this video on, but someone who's on their smartphone and looking at just a teeny tiny little, thumb drop circle of this is not going to know what it is. And you want that image to be reasonably clear so that people have some sort of a sense of what the image is showing. So let's go to my page, just to show what my profile is. I'm using my face. I know there's some authors who don't want to use their face, and that's fine. It's fine not to use your face. You just want to use something that is a clear image so that people can tell what it is. A bird, a wolf, that sort of stuff. So you want, and actually I changed this, but it hasn't changed yet, so I'm going to have to look into that. For the same reason, I wanted to say Lisa space Shea space author, and not Lisa Shea author in one giant blurb like that. So I have to fix the same thing on mine. So when you are an author setting up your account, you get a back banner area. So this is all just one big JPEG in the background. You get a circle profile picture, and then you are able to put in About Me bio area. So you want your background banner image to be something that is useful to telling people what kind of books you write. Or if you're just getting started, what kind of stories you want to write in the future. So in my case, since I've got a number of books out already, I've put in a selection of some of my books so people get a sense that I have a range of things I write about. I write about journaling and yoga and meditation, romance, mystery, fantasy, science fiction, all sorts of different things. So that's the purpose of my background, is to show that I have a range of topics I write about and that people will hopefully find something in here they're interested in. In my case, I don't mind branding with my face, so I have my face. If you're shy about that sort of thing, again, put in something that's evocative of the general genre that you write in. And if you write in multiple genres, just do the best you can, because you can only choose one picture, and it should be a clear picture. So it shows in here that I've got 28 books in here, or they call them works, and I've got over 1,000 followers, got 1,054 followers. Then there's also the people that you follow, which is this following list. So it shows all the different people that I am following to see what they're up to. So the About tab shows the bio area that I've put in, which, you know, talks about me and the types of things I write, and then tells people to go to my website to be able to learn more about my books. Has some links to some of my other pages. And then it has my 28 stories. It shows these stories in order of what was edited last. So if you want something to be on the top, just make sure after you edit anything else to then go back and edit this book, even if all you do is add a space or subtract a space or something. Make some sort of edit and it will pop right back up to the top again. So I have my books arranged in a certain order so that the ones that I think are more popular are up on top. So my Scottish Last Time Travel, my Knowing Yourself romance, and my Across the River historical romance real life story. And it tells you on each one how many people have seen them. So 57,000 people have seen this one. 2.8 people, 2,800, because the K means thousands. 2,800 people have put votes in it. This one has 41,000 people have read it. 2,300 people have voted on it. And voting means that they like it. There isn't any downvotes at all in Wattpad. So people either star it to say they like it or they can't do anything. I suppose they can leave a comment, but a comment doesn't affect its ranking in that way. And if you've achieved any sorts of rankings in terms of being popular in a given area, like this one is #1 in Samhain, which is Halloween, 29 in historic fiction, 56 in Native American fiction. And then we've got lots more. So we'll hit show more. So I've got a murder mystery, I've got a science fiction, a book on chakras, horror, you know, just all sorts of other stuff in here. Show more. But the stuff that's down at the bottom tends to get seen less often, at least by people who are on the profile, because as you can see, I had to sit and hit show more a number of times to get down here. They would still be found if someone was searching on something. So if we typed in search and we typed in Diner Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, then we would find my book. But someone would have to know that they were looking for that book name in order to find it. So that's a less likely scenario than someone just typing in medieval romance, for example, and finding books that have medieval romance. And because my book Knowing Yourself has the words medieval romance right in the title, I show up as a top result, which then gets me lots of views. So you want in general to think about your title to have keywords in it. So when people are out there, I mean, sure, some people will know about me, Lisa Shea, and go looking for my book Knowing Yourself, but lots and lots of other people have never heard about me. And when they're in here, they're just going to look for medieval romance or something like that. And I want to make sure that I am found at a high level, because people tend to click on these top results. People don't tend to go scrolling down through, 8,000 results down to the bottom here to see what else could be in here. So these books could be medieval romances, but they don't have the word medieval romance right in the title, so they don't end up getting a high result on that term because it doesn't have those words saying that they're a perfect match for it. So this Will You Love Me could be a medieval romance, and it has the word medieval in it, so it gets a reasonably good ranking. But if it had the word medieval romance in there, it looks like a medieval romance, then it would get much higher in the results. So think about that when you're making titles for your book. You want something in there that is evocative of the books itself. So Knowing Yourself is not a keyword. It's something that's about the content of the book. But then you want to have a medieval romance or a Renaissance adventure, whatever phrases, an alpha werewolf story or an alpha werewolf romance, whatever happens to be the topic of your book. And you do the best you can. So like this one here, A Scottish Lass, is a Regency time travel romance novella. And so I tried to put in different words in there that would help people get it fine. And I haven't actually tried this, but if we look for time travel romance, I'm not sure how high I will show up in the search. So I actually show up right at the top, which helps people find me, which then helps people read more about my books and so on. So this person just has time travel romance, but see, now we get into the cover issue. You want your cover to really sell that this is a professional book, that is something that is worth reading, and that is evocative of the genre. So this is makes it clear that it's about Scotland. The time travel romance makes it clear that it's about time travel. The image makes it reasonably clear that it's about romance, and so on. This one, I don't know that you could really tell from that cover that it's about romance because there isn't another person in there. It could be this girl's adventures at school or something like that. So you want to, in general, have an image that somehow gets across the main gist of your story. And no cover is going to be perfect, but you have to do the best that you can to get the cover to tell a story. Like this one, you know, you can't exactly tell what it's going to be about. But hopefully, between the 1800s Black Native American novella and Across the River being a generic kind of indicator that this is a book about a journey, a woman's journey. So it is partially a romance, but also just partially the story of this woman struggling to get by in the 1800s with all sorts of challenges. And this is based on an ancestor of mine. So this one, it's a murder mystery. This is a pretty generic murder mystery kind of scene. I actually took that picture, so this is set in Sutton. The picture is taken in Sutton. That's the spot of some of the murder activities. So especially for people who are in Sutton, this is very evocative of the scene and the landscape and so on. So I'm curious now if I search on chakras, if I find my book. Yep, so I'm right there at the top when you search on the word chakras. And again, people use this far less for nonfiction stories, but if you happen to write nonfiction stuff, then it's good to be in here because now all these people who are interested in this topic are finding me, they're liking the content, and hopefully they'll go and look for the other books that I've written on yoga and meditation and journaling and so on. And all of that other stuff is over on Amazon where it's earning me money. All right, so as an author, you put in books. Everything in here is going in for free. So what I do is I put in book 1 in each series everywhere for free. So Scottish Lass, Knowing Yourself, these guys are on Barnes & Noble Nook, they're in Google Play, they're in Smashwords, they're in Draft to Digital, they're everywhere for free. And the purpose of that is to get as many readers as humanly possible starting my series so that a portion of them will then go and read book 2, book 3, book 4, and so on down the road. If I put these books only in Amazon, or we'll even say, you know, only on Barnes & Noble, Nook, and those kinds of things, and made people pay for the first book, then I could get some people reading it, but it would be far, far less than all these people gobbling this stuff up for free. And if, let's say, 50% of people don't like it, they read the Scottish Lass and say, oh, it's too silly, or it's too mushy, or, you know, whatever they decide, then that's fine, because that wasn't my target audience, and they probably wouldn't have bought it in the first place after reading the read inside, because they wouldn't like my style. But that other half of the people who really decide that they like it, and they want to find out what happens next, now I've got all those people reading down, and I was able to get all of them hooked into the series without paying anything. There was zero money involved in marketing. So this is oodles and oodles and oodles of completely free marketing to get people to start reading your stuff, and then they go and pay for reading the rest of it. So what Sage did for her book is she put the first 2 chapters free, and then hopefully hooked in enough people to go read the rest of it. What I do, like this is a novella that's part of a trilogy, I put the first novella for free, and then people pay for books 2 and 3. And this one is a full-length novel, but is part of a 15-book series of full-length novels. So it's well worth it to me to have as many people as possible read the first book for free. Hopefully they like my writing style, and then a whole bunch of them decide that they do, and they read books 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I've got oodles of people reading all their way down my series, and I didn't pay any money at all for marketing, and I didn't have to do any work other than put it up here. I put this up, probably 2015, January 2015 is when I started putting things up here. So I put that up in January 2015. It's sat there the entire time just getting readers and getting people to look at it. And then a bunch of those people then go buy the Amazon book. So it requires no maintenance or no effort after that. And just 24/7 it is sitting there generating more leads for me. So hopefully that explains the concept behind what I do. So let's go take a look at one of these. And if anyone has any questions, as always, you can just post in the chat, or you can contact me through various social media to let me know what kinds of questions you have. All right, so let's go into Knowing Yourself. All right, so I have the description about it. I have the tags in there, and then this is a 20-chapter book, and it has a preface. So it's got 41,000 readers, 2,300 voters who like it, the 23 parts / chapters, and it takes about 6 hours to read. So let's go on and read the preface. The preface just is my intro where I talk about a little set of basics about the medieval world and how people did things. And then you continue reading to part 1. So now we're getting into the actual storyline. That's just an ad. So we've got the story. So we got a bunch of comments, people saying that they like it or whatever. So, a fair number of comments, and you don't tend to get this kind of immediate comments on Amazon or other systems. So it's really helpful to have people let you know if they like it or if they have a question about something or all that other kind of stuff. And then someone could hit continue reading and go on to chapter 2 and chapter 3 and so on. So hopefully you get the sense of how readers read things. Me as an author, if I wanted to edit it, there's an edit button right there. So I could click on that edit button and I could change things. So I can change things whenever I want to. If I find a typo or if I decide I want to change the wording of something, I can easily go in and edit it and make changes to stuff. I can make changes to the, nope, don't sit on things, kitty. I can make changes to the main page anytime, the story details, so I can go in and change the description. I can add in character names, so we can add in a character name. Sweetie, now I have to type around my cat. No, I'm trying to get to the K. There we go. Get to the M. Sweetie, you're just so helpful. Here, we'll add the tag. They're running a contest right now of Brave Together. And they'll donate money to a good cause, so we're adding the tag. Brave. Come on. You get the cat is just... Alright. So we added in a tag Brave Together. You get the genre that it goes in, the general genre, copyright. Story status, a lot of people are using Wattpad while they're working on a story, so it's in the story status of off until they get down to the end of it, and then they turn the story status on, and that's just because some readers like to wait until a story is complete before reading it. They get frustrated if they're reading and halfway through it just stops. So that's just an alert to readers so they know if something is finished or not before they start reading it. And then you have a toggle if you have adult type of content, if you have sex or violence or other things in there. You would add on the rating so that people knew that it had those sorts of things. Alright, so I just saved some changes to Knowing Yourself. That just pushed Knowing Yourself to the top. I want one Scottish lass at the top, so I'm just going to make a quick change to this one in the story details. So I just added some extra spaces in there just so something changed. Alright, so now One Scottish Lass is back at the top. I just like I said, having things in a particular order. Although, actually, it looks like they may have actually fixed this so that you could drag that. Oh ho ho! They are constantly making changes on Wattpad. They also killed off the forums, which was very... upsetting for me. I used to use the forums all the time. They had all sorts of great areas for asking questions about characters or how to develop plots or all sorts of things. And they deleted them all. So if you see any references to the forums that used to be in Wattpad, they are gone for now. And maybe they'll bring them back at some point, but it is just very disappointing. But apparently you can rearrange things in the published area with the hamburgers now, which are these 3-line things. So that is good to know, because I used to have to sit there and edit them and then remake edits to get things to show up in the correct order. So I will make a note to update my book so that it says that that's an option now. Reorder book listing. Excellent. Undoubtedly, Wattpad heard lots of authors saying that it was a little tedious to sit there and keep re-editing things just to slide them up or down. Alright, so this is my author interface, and it shows you each book, shows you how many people have looked at it, how many people have voted on it. You can go in and change anything you want at any time. I can change out the covers, I can change the description, I can change the pieces of the story. So never feel like you're locked in something. If something's up, you can always change things. So that hopefully makes the publishing process a little less stressful. So I use this for putting up finished stories to get publicity and traction for them. A lot of authors use this to put up stories that they're working on so that they can get feedback on them and get ideas from people and so on. So let's go back out to my profile page. So the profile main page has the books, and it has your bio area, and it has the links to the people who are following you, the people who you are following, and so on. There's also this tab here for conversations. This is where you can put notes that will go out to all of your readers, or the people who are following you, or anyone who comes by your page. And also if people have questions, like this person said, where's the book Time Apart, which is book 2 in my Scottish series, and I gave them a link to where it is, and she said thank you. Someone just said hello. I said hi. So if I'm like running a free promotion for a book that's not in here, then I will put a post here so people can find it. If I'm going to like a sci-fi convention, in time periods when in-person things are okay, which should be coming up again here soon, then I let people know so that people could come and participate, or they could participate virtually. My story Salt Ocean was accepted by Fox Spirit Books for a compilation book, so I let people know about that. So it's just a great way to stay in touch with people and to let people know what's going on if you have any promotions that you're doing. So it's good to post in your conversations area every once in a while. I wouldn't post like 8 times a day, but post every once in a while so people know what you're up to and they stay in touch with the things that you're doing. Following tab, like we said, is just a list of people that we're following. So Jane Nazalillo is a friend of mine, and I just set up her account. So this is, she wrote a book on Homer the Historical Cat, $27.32 dog. So she writes some children's books, and these are all little short stories about people living in an assisted living center. So we've got the story in there. It's got a little bio area. So if we click on this story to see more about it. So it's called The Bus Trip. We've got the story. It's a fairly short story. I'll say vote. And I'll say very cute. I've actually read this before, so I don't have to read it at this second. So I've left a comment that it's cute. I voted and given it a star. And then the next part tells people where to get to book 2. So if we go back out to her page, so she's got just the one story up, and she's using this as a way to get more attention to all of the rest of the stories that she's written, which are on Amazon. And she is currently at number 35 in the humorous category. So let's take a look at Winky. Winky's writing spy school stories. So a lot of people on Wattpad write fan fiction. Normally on places like Amazon, you can't publish fan fiction because it would be a violation of the original author's copyright. But on Wattpad, there's sort of a gray area going on here, and people are allowed to post fan fiction. And I mean, technically it's a violation of copyright, but the authors sort of accept that this is a way to drum up interest in their own things that they're writing. So these are all based on the spy school world, and she's got different stories about spy school. Now see, this might be a case where the current one that's at the top of the list is number 195, but if we go down here to the show more, there's actually one with 2,000 views. So she would really want to have that one at the top so that everyone sees that when they land on her page and see that that's the most interesting one to get their hands on. So I will make a note to have her rearrange her spy school stuff. You generally want your most popular item at the top so that you're showing people who land on your page that you have a good reputation, a good number of readers, and so on. So let's look at Spy School Egypt. Click on read. So it starts with the title, has the words of her story. And I've already voted on this, and then you click to read the next part. I've already read all of these, but just to show what this is like, click to vote on the next part. And I'm just trying to get you to the... She added a little comic. Chapter 4. Chapter 5. Chapter 6. Chapter 7. So we're getting quite a lot of content for free here from this author. She's putting a YouTube link in there so people can find her entry. So chapter 8. Chapter 9. Chapter 10. And you'll note that she's adding little notes to the things. So she's talking about these things that are happening. So you can add, personal notes in there if you want to. Chapter 11. Chapter 12. Alright, so anyway, I'm not going to... I thought I would have ended by then, but apparently, let's take a look at... it's got 28 chapters, so we would have had to keep going for a while. So she's added quite a lot more to that story, which is really cool. So people who are reading as she goes can keep checking back in, and they'll get alerts if she's added another chapter, and so on. So that's a great way to keep people reading, to get feedback on what you're doing, and so on. She's done a book on how to do cover designs. She has some pretty cool covers. So these are fan fictions, and they are getting her quite a lot of views. I mean, she's got over 2,000 views on her first book, and she's racking up the views on her next books. All right, what else do we have in here? We have a personal inbox. I won't go in there because people are sending me personal messages, but the inbox is where people can privately send you a message and ask you questions like, can you help me with my book? Or I have some feedback on your book that I don't want to make public, or that sort of thing. You have a notifications area where that tells you if people have voted on your book or added your book to some sort of a list or mentioned you. So a lot of times it's people who are voting on your book. Sometimes there are people creating lists that your book is now part of. Sometimes it's like this one, this person that I'm following says that one of their books has been updated, so people know to go read the book. This person apparently read my entire Aspen Allegations book and voted on all the episodes. So notifications give you an idea of who's paying attention to your writing and what they're doing. So like Chris Travel said that she just updated Love of the Underworld. So it's a good idea to check your notifications every once in a while and see what could be new in there. And then library are the things that you were reading. So Moby Dick, Pride and Prejudice. I was reading my own book, The Lucky Cat, to make sure that it was working properly. That sort of thing. Community used to have forums in it. And it's very sad that they're gone. That they were all just deleted. There was so much useful information in there. But life goes on. And that is all right. And they do have a premium section where you can pay money to buy books with money. But if I was going to be buying books with money, I guess I would just do it on Amazon or somewhere else. But that is just me. If you would rather, if maybe you have a favorite author that you love and they're only on Wattpad, then maybe it would be worth it to pay money into the Wattpad system and to buy their books through the Wattpad system. The right area in here is where you get to your stories. So all the different things you've published. For some reason, the show more button is only intermittently working. So sometimes it works. Right now it's not working. You just have to be patient. Show more. Ah, that time it worked. Like I said, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, and that's okay. So these are all the books that I've published in the Wattpad system. These are all books that are available for free everywhere. So on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Google Play, Smashwords, Draft to Digital, every sort of place. Because again, the purpose of these particular books is to draw people in to then read the whole series. So Aspen Allegations, I've got 6 murder mysteries out, so the first one's free to try to convince people to read all the rest of them. Aquarian Awakenings, that's a 4-part series, science fiction series. Death Watch, I've got, I think, 25 horror short stories out, so that's hopefully get people to like my style to then go in and read more of them, and so on. I think you get the sense of how these things work. So I will go to my profile page. If anyone has any questions about any aspect of Wattpad, definitely let me know, and I am happy to help. In general, this is a great place to create a free account and read other people's things. I highly suggest reading things in your genre or genres and liking things that you like, voting on them and commenting on them, because the more that your name gets seen out there in that topic area, the more that people will then find you and learn about you. So here, let's go back to one of my followers. Let's go to Oinky. So if we go to Spy School Egypt and go to the bottom. Oh, has no one commented on this? That is pretty odd. Alright, I guess I have to find something else. Well, let's look for medieval romance. Alright, so let's go to this one. Alright, now unfortunately, apparently some people have a lot of issues about this story. But let's say that... Alright, so this person says enjoying the story so far. So we can then click on their name, and if they were an author, we would see their books and such in here. So if I made a post on that and said, you know, I really enjoy the medieval world, you did a great job of bringing these characters to life, or something like that, the post would be made with my name, Lisa Shea Author, and people who like to read medieval romances would then see my name, Lisa Shea Author, and be tempted to come and learn more about me. So it's a way of marketing yourself. So I would never make a post in someone else's story that said, everyone come read my story instead, because that would just be cruel and would probably get yourself deleted. But if you make a general post and say, I love the medieval world, I love the characters you've recreated, I like how you talked about King John and the conflicts of the Crusades or something like that, then other people who are reading and see the comment will say, oh, this Lisa Shea Author seems interesting. And then if they click on me, then they will learn that, oh, look, she also writes medieval stuff. Maybe I'll give her work a try. So it's a good idea to vote and comment on. And also, because I like to write medieval romance, I generally like to read medieval romance. So if you get yourself noted by a lot of other people who write in your same topic area, they're likely to be readers of your topic area, and they're likely to then want to read your stuff, and maybe some of them will like your stuff. So it's a way of getting your name out there and networking with fellow authors and all that other kind of stuff. So in general, Wattpad is free. It is well worth signing up for, poking around a little, starting to network with other people who write in the topic area that you like to write about. And when you're ready to start putting books up, you can put up stories just piecemeal. You could be working on something and put up just the basics of a story that you're working on It doesn't have to be finished, and you can get feedback from people and make changes. If people give you feedback in general, I would respond to them. I would say thank you so much for your ideas, even if you disagree. Even if someone says, oh, you should have killed off this character in scene 1. You can say thank you, that's an interesting idea. You don't want to fight with people in these kinds of situations. You want to be upbeat and friendly and supportive, because your aim is to get more comments and to get more readers, and people pay attention to the way that you treat other commenters before they are likely to leave a comment of their, of their own. So I think I've covered all the basics of Wattpad. Let me know if you have any questions. I am happy to answer questions. Let me know what else you'd like me to talk about in the future, because I've got books out on all sorts of different social networks, and I am always working to add in more books to my library. So if you've got something you'd like me to cover and that I haven't covered yet, I would love to hear about it. But if you're on Wattpad, if you follow me, I will try to follow you back. Wattpad has a 1,000 following limit. So I am currently following 1,000 people. And if I wanted to follow someone else, I would have to unfollow one of these people and then follow the new person that I wanted to follow. So you can have more than 1,000 people following you. So right now I have 1,054 followers, people who are watching me, but I can only myself watch 1,000 people max. And I'm not sure why Wattpad did that, but it makes it a little frustrating because I like to follow back the people who are following me, and I am at my limit right now. So maybe they will change that in the future. We will see. But other than that, I hope you have a wonderful afternoon, and I look forward to talking with you in the future about other social networks. So have a great afternoon.